So now that you have grasped the basics of the box model, now let's delve deeper and explore the various categories of boxes within the box model. I hope you have watched the video where we delved into the CSS box model. Now, as you already know, every element on a web page appears as a box, but it's important to understand that these boxes comes in various types, and that is exactly what we will learn in this video. We are diving deep into CSS layout, specifically focusing the property which is the CSS display property. So what's the display property is all about? Well, it's a fundamental CSS property that allows us to control how elements are displayed on our web pages. It's like the conductor of our web design orchestra, determining whether elements are inline or block level. Now, first of all, we are going to learn about display block property. And this property transforms elements into block level elements. Block level elements stack on top of each other, taking up the full width of their parent container, and it always starts on a new line, which is perfect for creating those clear content and sections on your website. And you will commonly use this property for things like headings, paragraphs, and divs. It is the go-to choice for creating structured content. Now the example of block level elements are div, heading elements, paragraph element, form element, header element, footer, and section element. All these elements are block level element because they have by default block display. Next up, we have display inline. Display inline makes element inline level. Unlike block level, inline element flows horizontally, fitting together like puzzle pieces. Think of this for elements like links, spans, or even those tiny icons you want to align neatly in a row. Inline elements respect the content within them, allowing you to style text within a paragraph. For example, an inline link does not start on a new line and only occupies the width that is required. In the case of inline elements, the height and width properties do not have any impact. Additionally, padding and margins are only applied horizontally, specifically on the left and right sides, but not vertically, meaning they won't affect the top and bottom. Now the examples of inline elements are span element, link element, and image element, and we have also many other elements that have inline display. Now let's talk about display inline block property. This handy property combines the advantages of both inline and block elements, offering a versatile solution for us. The inline block property offers a convenient way to manage the layout of elements. It combines the flow of inline element with the ability to set the specific dimensions similar to block level element. This feature is particularly useful when you want elements to be positioned side by side while preserving their individual styles. Now let's talk about display none. This property does precisely what it says. It makes an element disappear entirely from your layout. Use it when you want to hide something but don't want to remove it from the HTML entirely. Remember, when an element is set to display none, it won't take up any space on the page, and it's not accessible via interaction. And now it's time to show you these concepts practically. Now to understand this concept, I just created these three elements. Now the first element is this h1 element, and this h1 element is a block level element, and then we have two more elements, and these are link element and a span element, and these both elements are inline elements. So how we can check that this element is block level or inline? As we talked earlier that the block level elements occupy the full width of its parent element. And if I change the color of this h1 element, you can see this h1 element is occupying the full width of its parent element. So now I am changing the background color here of this h1 element, and now you can see it's occupying the full width of its parent, but the content of this h1 element is just this long. As this element is a block level element, that's why it's occupying the full width. For now this element have a block display, but we can also change the display to inline by just using this display property and setting it to inline like this. And now you can see, and now it's taking just that space that its content needs to take, and our other inline elements are now sitting right after this heading element. And this is how we can change the display of any element, if it's block level element or inline element. And we can also change the display of these inline elements to block. Let's say I want to change the display property of this link element. In order to do this, just select that element and change the display property to block. And now this link element have a block level display. And in order to show you, I just need to change the background color so you can see it have a block display. And now it's taking the 100% width as you can see on the screen. And now I want to show you one more example. And in this example, I am going to show you what happened if I add margin, padding, width or height to this span element, which is inline element. So here we have a paragraph, and in this paragraph we have a span element. And now in this span element, I just added margin 20 pixel and padding of 20 pixel. Also I am giving the width 80 pixels and height 50 pixels. And here I am changing its background color to light blue. And at the end we have the border of 2 pixels, which is solid blue. And now you can see that the width and height are ignored. The top and bottom margin, padding and border are respected, but they don't change the relationship of other content to our inline box. And here the padding and border is overlapping the other words in this paragraph. And the left and right padding, margins and borders move other content away from the box. Now after that we have our inline block property. Now inline block property provides us middle ground between inline and block, and we can use that property if we don't want an item to break onto a new line. And also we can use this because if we want to change the width and height of that element. So in these cases the inline block property is helpful, because in just inline elements we can't use the height and width properties, which may be sometimes useful. Now to see what happened if I change the display of the span element to inline block. So right now the span element have inline display. If I change the display to inline block, you can see now we have right and left margin, and also the width of our span element is increased. And this can be useful when you want to give a link a larger area by adding padding. A link element is an inline element like span, so we can use display inline block to allow padding to be set on it and making it easier for a user to click the link. And now at last we have display none property. If we set the display of this element to none, this will become invisible completely from our screen, and this element is still in our HTML, but because of this display none property, it's not appearing on our screen. Other than these display properties, we have some more display properties like display grid or display flex, but we will cover those properties in future videos. And there you have it. Remember, web development is all about creativity and problem solving. Experiment, combine these properties, and let your imagination run wild. The possibilities are endless. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button to join this exciting web development journey with us. Until next time, keep coding and keep creating. I will see you in the next video.